What's going on, guys? Chunky back here on my channel. If you didn't see it already, I covered my top 5 favorite things from this year's E3 conferences, and if you didn't hear in that video, check it out. But my first 2 picks I'll be covering in extended videos. This is number 2, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I thought I'd run through this 13-minute gameplay look that they've given us and just comment, give you my impressions, and overall, let's run through it together. Let's do it, guys. So I'm going to run it through now, and let's go. Okay, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've got to say that first off. And I was really impressed by this gameplay trailer. It's all alpha gameplay footage, as you can see. I mean, somewhat lush environments. From this drab environment that we've got here, there's still a bit of color. I really like the character model, and I like the way the droid sits on your shoulder. So you're playing as Cal Kestis or something like that. He's basically a surviving Jedi from Order 66. Basically trying to... That's what I love. I like the Uncharted grappling hook thing that they've brought through. Platforming elements. Obviously, Respawn Entertainment, we're going to bring some of those parkour elements. So we're actually seeing it already in the first, literally 30 seconds of this trailer. So to continue, basically trying to survive the events of Order 66 and restart the Jedi Order once again. As you can see, this is Saw Gerrera. If you saw either, I think it's Clone Wars or Star Wars Rogue One, Saw Gerrera was a part of this. Basically, a rebellion leader of sorts. He didn't really get much screen time in Rogue One, but if you do watch, I'm pretty sure it is the Clone Wars. He gets a lot more screen time. He is here once again, played by Forrest Whitaker. It's good to see him back. It's good to see some of the characters from the extended lore, like those Star Wars stories and series, come back as important parts for other extended sort of series and stories in the form of Fallen Order. Understood. Watch yourself in there. I always found this part a bit weird when they sort of launch off. It seems like it'd be really hard to support your weight like that as it's going up, but I mean, whatever. Just a little nitpick. I like the way the droid climbs into your shoulder and hangs there. I already said that. But so basically the mission in this little gameplay section is to free the Wookiees. So you've got a nice little mini-map that you can access at any time. The path still seems relatively linear. It's straightforward. But the fact that it's there nonetheless and it's in that cool retro hologram style, I can appreciate. So this part I actually really like. Actually using the lightsaber as a torch and then combining it with those awesome force powers. Seems a lot more powerful than what I anticipated originally, but I mean, you gotta have fun with it, and the abilities have to be worth something as well to make you feel like a badass. But yeah, using the lightsaber as a torch, really innovative. Seems like it should have been done by now, but doesn't really get used that much, unfortunately. So here we're having a really good look at the Imperial Refinery. Some really cool looking landscapes in the distance here. I also like how the world feels dynamic, how things are happening without your presence. Enemies fighting each other, the world reacting in its own way. It seems quite interesting, and it seems like you can use that to your advantage. If you weren't to get involved, you can use it to thin out the battlefield and then jump on at a later stage. So here we're going to get our first look at lightsaber combat. But first, like I said, the dynamic world really reacts without you being present. All these different factors are going on, and you can choose to jump in really when you see fit. So once again, using the rope to swing in. I really like how you use the force to actually grab the rope, so it won't seem like you're having to jump everywhere to grab everything. Obviously, using the lightsaber to deflect bullets. I mean, that's just cool in its own right. I like how a lot of the lightsaber combat is actually one-hit based. Obviously, you've got some Kylo Ren shit going on there, freezing that basically section of space, and then using it to your advantage is really cool. I wonder if you control the droid. I don't think you do. It might just be a button prompt of sorts. Once again, dynamic world. The droid's reacting to you, going to call his troopers or his nearby troopers. And I like how Cal just basically throws him into the troopers as well. I didn't see them on the other stormtroopers. Maybe they had health bars. However, look at that. One cut straight through the body. Finito. Some really cool finishes. I mean, look, I like the marks that it leaves on the troopers themselves. Unfortunately, no, we're not getting dismemberment. It's a shame. it's not something we really see in a lot of Star Wars films. I mean, when it is used, it's very meaningful. So I didn't really expect to see too much of it here. Otherwise, that would really up the rating, and it wouldn't be for, you know, for casual audiences. I guess it'd be a lot more violent. So here we're taking part with the Shock Trooper. I think it's no, not a Shock Trooper. Can't remember the name of them. They have been around before. These guys are a bit tougher. I mean, if you've played Dark Souls, you're going to have your regular enemies, and then you're going to have your mini bosses of sorts. Given your lightsaber was just cutting through a bunch of enemies in 1 or 2 swipes, it seems a bit strange that now your lightsaber is more like a baseball bat rather than a real freaking controlled freaking laser beam. So, I mean, you have to expect that it wasn't going to be for all enemies. But once again, as you can see, really cool finishes, really cool style. I actually like the style of the blade as well. I think that's sword that's communicating with you. Yeah, it is. So you're basically just guiding you through. Yeah, once again, looking at the character model, it's really interesting, but I like the way that it sort of crawls around your back, moves on different shoulders. As you saw, you can actually use it for health packs, bringing the camera in close. It's very similar to the Uncharted series, showing off some of those lighting effects as well. I'm not sure why the droid jumps off. It doesn't seem like you're controlling the droid. I just think it's for the sake of cool camera angles. So now we're getting a look at some of the other animalistic enemies and you'll be facing. It's not all stormtroopers. So I think that, once again, looking at the dynamic world and how everyone reacts, I guess, like I said before, you can just wait around and see if those enemies take out each other, therefore less work for you. So I can appreciate that. I've always sort of liked those dynamic worlds. Once again, freezing that section of space and sending the shock trooper just flying. Look at that. You mean, like, it seems so dynamic. I mean, that's the word that I'm using. But given that there's a lot going on that feels natural and feels like it's dependent on your response at times and sometimes not, it feels like there's just a lot more going on than just you. Once again, platforming elements are really good. I mean, I expected Respawn to be using those platforming and parkour elements. Controlling the droid through button prompts to overcharge the cog on the right, it seems like, to get things moving. Seems like it's trying to cut through a section of the wall. Environmental puzzles are always a plus for me. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of puzzles. That can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you don't know what's going on. It really slows down the pace. But environmental puzzles are really good because it gets you engaged just as much as it gets the character, I should say, engaged physically as much as it gets your mind engaged as well. So it's, it's actually giving you a bit more variety than just 1 or 2 buttons when you figure out what you have to do. Once again, I mean, they're showing a lot of this here. They're showing a lot of that dynamic open world with those enemies reacting without your presence. I think here there's much more of an emphasis on reacting outside of the main fray. So it's jumping in now. So none of the enemies have really realised what's going on with you yet until you jump in. Now I'm a bit of an arachnophobic. I'm scared of spiders. They bound you with those as well. So there's a bit of button mashing to get out of that as well. So a few quick time events we can expect. Yeah, I'm scared of spiders, so this actually does make me a little bit uncomfortable. They look very realistic. They move very jittery. You can see all of their eyes, which is just creeping me out. I hate that huge bulb they have on their back. Oh, it really does creep me out, to be honest with you. That's just something I have to deal with as games get more realistic. I heard that while human enemies can't be dismembered, that animal or insect or other enemies can. I haven't really seen that yet. Maybe I'm missing something. I might have missed it in my last look at the trailer. So, I mean, the character's acquired a skill point, so we can only assume that skill points can be used to upgrade abilities. Maybe I've missed something as well. It's unclear if the lightsaber, or those skill points can be used for the lightsaber. I think there is some sort of customization in the lightsaber, because I already know that there are pre-order bonuses to change the hilt and the blade color. So one can only assume that there's going to be customization options for the blade itself. And I'm pretty sure that that's been revealed at this stage anyway. So, coming towards another battle section, I'm pretty sure Well, sort of investigation section, and there you go. You get preyed upon. That's really creepy, especially for me. Having a look at those eyes, it's just gross. If you didn't already notice it, you do have that little lock-on mechanic, similar to Dark Souls. I don't exactly know what that was. It seemed like some sort of one-button finisher. Maybe you have a bar. It seems like you have a bar that you build up. When it's full, you can sort of utilize that to just finish off an enemy in one blow. It seems interesting enough. So far, I mean, I'm really liking what I'm seeing. I've commented on it before in various articles that I've written, but none of it really seems original. I mean, given that it takes place in the Star Wars universe, that's probably the most original thing that's going on because it's original story. I should mention from a gameplay perspective that it's not really an original game in and of itself, but that doesn't make it a bad thing. I mean, like I said, I've mentioned it before, but the Uncharted series is almost just that. And I like how these games, I mean, like, it's funny because Uncharted took notes from Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider took notes from Uncharted when it rebooted itself. And now we're just seeing games take elements from each other, but I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, if it's done well, like it looks like it is now, it looks somewhat polished, it looks intuitive. It just looks fun as well. I mean, there's a sense of creativity there, like this guy here, using the force powers, intertwining it with lightsaber combat. I'm all for it. I mean, you've got platforming, lightsaber combat. You can do everything you think you would do when you're a Jedi. I think there's a section here which I really love. I think it's freezing that bullet, which is what you see here. Then you grab him, I think it's now, yeah, and then just throw him into the bullet. Stuff I didn't even think of. I mean, it's good that you can use the Force in different ways. People freak out when they see something new with the Force, but the Force is just this ability that probably is beyond our comprehension, so you can't really question it too much at the same time. What we're getting a look at now is more platforming elements. I do think that there is a lot of platforming, but it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel like climb here, then climb there. The world feels detailed and intuitive enough that it doesn't feel like it's forcing you down a linear path, even though ultimately it will be a linear path, it seems like now. The game really hasn't given us a look at these extended open environments just yet. So with lightsaber parrying as well, I did hear that there is a button, like a blocking button, which will parry automatically, but if you time that button at the right time, you will actually block that bullet or that laser fire directly back at your enemy, therefore taking them down, which is a nice touch as well. So it's good that you can sort of freeze an enemy to give you space, then go back to him. However, I don't know why he's not, like, well, he's attacking him now, but the enemy's frozen. It doesn't seem like you'd be able to kill that enemy in one hit, which is a bit of a shame. But, I mean, you can't be too overpowered. There needs to be some sort of challenge. I assume there's going to be different difficulty modes as well. And I really do wonder how hard it is, because a lot of games have done that. They look easy, but then they sort of come out the gate with this really uneven difficulty. I can't even explain it. Just really hard spikes in certain sections, which make things really difficult. I'm hoping this isn't one of them, but I mean, I'm all for the challenge anyway. I mean, even though nothing's going on, just some really impressive lighting as well, and really detailed environments. I think the actor who plays Cal is Cameron Monaghan, or whatever his name is. He plays the Joker in the Gotham series. That looks exactly like him. Star Wars games have been known for utilising actors as the main character, like The Force Unleashed. If you may have noticed, the same actor who is in Days Gone, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. That I like. I mean, now we're getting a gameplay trailer, and a look, that's the K2SO, whatever it is, KS2I or something like that. You would have seen that in Rogue One. Just a deeper look at the combat and stuff like that. I'm all for it. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Who knows if it's going to be a look at a building on a franchise, I should say. I'm really excited for it. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so for me, this is everything I really wanted so far in a Star Wars game. I haven't really had a good third-person, story-based game with no microtransactions or season pass whatsoever. So guys, that was my look and my commentary on the latest gameplay reveal of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. If you like the video, leave a like down below. If you have anything to say, if you're as hyped as I am, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you guys, and most of all, subscribe. And if you want to stay updated with all my future content, hit that bell button down below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm Chunky. Thanks for stopping by my world, and I'll see you soon. Take care.